Man, what a beautiful lake. Here we are at Cat Lake in Squamish. Look at this, just absolutely stunning. So I'm going to take my scooter and I'm going to go from this dock and I'm going to go to clean that dock. The reason I have to launch from this dock here is because there's no road getting down to that dock over there. And I have to hike all my dive gear down, I hike all the garbage back up. It's just a pain in the butt. So I'd rather drive to this dock and then just scooter across and then scooter back. And then I can pick up things in between as well too. So we've done, between the end of last summer and today, we've done every area in here. We know there's a big pocket right behind the camera there that we haven't, there's a lot of garbage that we haven't actually got to yet. We'll come back for that. But that's the only dock we haven't cleaned thoroughly. So I'm going to do that today, and then that way that kind of sets up the lake wonderfully for the summer onslaught. In the busiest of times here in the summertime, like a busy long weekend or something, this lake will have 400 or 500 floaties on it at any given time on a long weekend. So you can imagine the amount of beer cans and so on. This is like the most polluted lake that we clean on our circuit. So this is absolutely gorgeous out here. I've been here for a little while actually. I'm just waiting. I waited for the sun to kind of warm myself up as well too. So, I appreciate getting the sunlight into the water, let it penetrate as much as it can so it can actually see what I'm doing in the water. So anyway, all right, let me go get my gear and get in the water and see what I can find. So I was really looking forward to diving underneath this dock. I have not actually been underneath this dock for quite a few years. Just by chance, other dive members have done this dock, and I've done other areas. So I was really looking forward to see what I can find. And as soon as I ducked my head under, there it is. Look at that. It's a drone. It's a DJI Mavic Air 2, I think is the correct model, and it's quite large actually. So of course I have to grab a pair of sunglasses first. I thought it was actually kind of comical when the water causes the prop to spin, of course. I just thought that was a neat little physics thing there. So I knew I had to retract the arms, except I didn't know how. I've never handled one of these before. So it took me a second to figure out which arm to fold in first. So I guess that must be the rear or the front, whichever that one is. So I can actually fit it inside my bag. That was kind of cool. Looking back at the video, I don't actually know how I saw this bottle because even looking in the video, I can't tell it's there. So kudos to me. Little razor, little toy bucket, probably some kid playing on the dock, dropped it. That's okay, always happy to get plastic out of the water. Always sunglasses, and I think this was, a little disposable shooter cup. So when I picked this up, and it was the material that's in this little jar was densely packed. So I realized that it's more than likely animal ash, in the sense of like somebody probably had their dog or something like that cremated and then just threw the whole jug into the water. So I decided that to empty out the ashes into the lake, because that's what the owner intended, and just take the plastic out. So I guess PSA to people: if you want to discard your loved one's ashes, please don't discard the plastic. Just scatter the ashes. That's probably good enough. So after picking up some random glass bottles and beer cans and so on underneath the dock, I decided that it's time to scooter across. You can tell here it's starting to get a little bit darker, and I'm still actually working quite well because I waited for the sun to actually hit the lake. It looks very green here, but I could actually see very, very well. Just following the contour of the lake, sort of around a specific depth, not really going by compass bearing at this point, and just heading back towards the dock that I launched from. So I think that was a little rope right there with a carabiner on it. Sometimes people, I guess, hang beer bags into the lake to keep them cool when they're hanging out, and they end up losing that little leash. At least I think that's what it's for. So there's always these random bits of beer cans scattered all over the place just because people are floating. There's no stationary place that they drink from. So it's always nice having that scooter. At some point during the scooter, I realized the beer cans were actually falling out of the bag, so I had to just take a moment to, cinch up the neck of the bag a little bit by clipping more corners together, so that beer, like every time I stop, the forward momentum carries all of the beer cans forward, and they actually fall out of the bag. And and if you ever wonder how I find lake beers or swamp beers, there you go. That is a swamp beer. I shall be tasting that later. So at some point here, I surfaced and realized I overshot the destination dock by quite a bit actually. So I had to go back and of course picking up cans and so on the way back. Here's a little headlamp that somebody dropped into the lake, and this is a cell phone in very, very shallow water. 11 feet, I think it was, or 9 feet actually. It was so shallow. I'm sure they tried to look for it, but of course, if you actually try to stand on the lake bottom, what's going to happen is that you're going to slough off all sorts of debris onto the phone and causing you not to be able to see it. I'm sure they try to find it, but dog leash and a lovely boat paddle that I gave to Karen, one of my dive team members. She was looking for one because she was thinking of trying out stand-up paddleboarding. So there we go. That's the end of the dive. I mean, really shallow water now. This is right next to the dock. So all the trash that I collected just in my hands there, I didn't bother putting into the onion bag because I collected it in like less than 9 feet of water. So I knew I was just going to dump it onto the dock. And the park supervisor, Katie, was nice enough to give me a hand with all my trash. She met me at the park to actually unlock the gate for me. I met her 9 years ago when she used to be a supervisor over at BC Parks, and she's always been super helpful and super supportive of the projects. Oh man, what a fun dive. Super cold though, 5 degrees Celsius. Let me get out of my suit and I'll go show you what I got. Found a drone 15 seconds into the dive or whatever, right underneath the dock. Look at the fun stuff for this dive. So here's the cool stuff. You got a phone right underneath this dock. The drone came from that dock over there. And then we've got some sunglasses, got a vape, random bits and bobs. Got some beer bottles, beer cans, and got 4 full ones. And got a nice paddle, and I'm pretty sure this thing was full of ashes. So I gotta weigh everything back at the truck, but I thought I'd get some pictures down here, and man, probably like 20 pounds, 25 pounds of garbage. It's always nice to get the electronics out of the water. So there we go, out of Cat Lake. So I think we're nicely set up for a busy summer, and we'll see what this summer will end up being like. Thank you so much, my Patreon supporters. So we'll see you guys in the next video.